Hi everybody, Matt from Power with Purpose here. Today I've got a Bob lesson for you. Bob is a fantastic training partner. Um, they're quietly named, I think they were finally named Bob many years ago, and now they're actually sold as Bobs, so it's quite funny the way they all happen. These are fantastic for kicking training, for punching training, for everything like that. I'm going to take you through some safety points to remember if you have a Bob and how to use it, and then some good training drills that you can utilize and what you want to focus on when you're using a Bob. So, alright, begin. I think the very first thing to be aware of is don't kick the bottom. The bottom is not soft, the bottom is very hard. Okay? Especially if this one's full of water, it's plastic. You hit that too hard with your toes and it's going to sting. And here, the metal part there, that part is not going to be nice to your feet. If you're wearing an armor or something like that, then it might not be too bad, but you still don't want to be hitting it as hard as you can. This Bob can be adjusted to different heights. You can actually come up, and then a bit hard to see, but down the side there's 3 different sections that you can put Bob into. So you can have him super tall, a little bit medium, and a little bit shorter as well. That's as tall as he can be. I'm not quite ready for that today. So I'm going to bring you down to little height actually. Just for today, we might just go for the shorter one, so I can definitely demonstrate this to you. So you can almost hit Bob wherever you want, but you still want to think about where you would strike your opponent. So obviously Bob's got a couple of shoulders just here. If you were going to do a hook punch, you want to hook the punch up to the head. You don't want to focus on aiming for the shoulder. That's part of the idea of the Bob, is that it's shaped like a person, so you want to have a good target. Okay. So if we were going to start with some punches from here, center punch straight through, obviously aiming for the center of Bob. And the thing you want to use with this is to keep your eyes on your opponent, to keep your guard up, and to keep yourself facing your opponent. For example, if I was to do a punch here, now I can't quite see him. I've turned away and I'm exposed, he could hit me. I want to be able to hit and come back. Now I'm ready to keep fighting and doing whatever. Part of also what you want to practice with Bob is distance control. You want to be at a good distance that you can hit and make a bit of an impact, but not lose your balance, and you don't want to be too close or too far away. If I was to be here, well, I can get him, but again, I'm overreaching potentially as well. And sometimes that might be an option, but you don't want that to always be the case. Same thing, if I was to be here, I really wouldn't be trying punches from here. Maybe you can work on an elbow or an elbow to the head instead if you're in close quarters. So those are some things to remember, and that's what you're trying to practice, especially if you start with just a single technique. You don't have to come to this and do a 20,000 move combo. You can just come up and practice punching. And you want to feel a good amount of strength on your body. You want to feel that there's no jarring in your wrist. You want to feel that you're in balance and you're in control. And you can practice doing this 10 to 20 times to build up your endurance, your strength, and your technique. So that's punching and distance control. You want to have the distance control also for kicking techniques. I'll just do this way a little bit. So kicking techniques on Bob, you can do any of your kicks really. We've got front snap, side kick, roundhouse, hook kicks, round back kicks. They're all fine for Bob. The idea as well is that you are on target in front of Bob. And let's start with a front snap kick, for example. You don't want to be overreaching. So if I'm here and I'm reaching really far forward, probably not the best thing. If I'm here, I'm going to be hitting the bottom before I even kick Bob. So you want to start to learn about where's your best distance to do a front snap kick. Hips, knee, foot, back, and down. We've got the ball of the foot, so really pointing the toes like this to hit Bob. You can even then go for a bit more of a push kick for a front snap kick and hit with your entire foot. Now, the thing with kicks that is more likely than with punches is that you can move Bob. Yeah. So I had someone ask the other night, is it easy to knock Bob over? Now that depends on how much water you've got in the bottom. If you fill him up to the brim as high as you can, it's going to be pretty hard to knock him over. If you completely empty Bob in the bottom here and don't have any water in the tank, like this fella, this guy's got no water in him right now, very easy to just move it around, and it's super light. I could, just push it down from there. Bob, not so much. It's a bit more effort. You saw me trying to roll him before. It's a bit heavy. So, can you knock Bob down? Yeah, you can if you just persistently push him. If I just do this, I keep going now. I don't want to because I have to pick it back up. But if you just keep pushing, yeah, you'll knock him down. So you're not really trying to knock it down with all your kicks. You've got to pick it back up then as well. You want to hit it with some strength and some force and be ready because it's going to come back. It's going to bounce back for you. So you need to kick and get out of there as well. Kick, move back so that you're not staying where it's bouncing back towards you. You don't want to kick and land down to here as Bob's shaking. So that's a front snap kick, a couple of points. Kick, come back, always keep the guard up, even though Bob's not going to hit your back, fortunately. Kick, and come back. What have we got? Side kicks and round back kicks. Similar concept of knocking Bob away from pushing him this way, turning with the side kick to hit, or turning around with a round back kick to hit. Again, this speed that I'm going at is a great way to just start off. It's a bit more of a fun way to warm up, I find, than kicking the air or just doing stretches, is to just playfully, keep hitting something from here. You can just tell yourself, all right, I'm going to do 5 front snap kicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 on the left, 5 side kicks, 5 round back kicks. And you're not going for crazy speed or crazy power. You're just looking for that good, wholesome technique where when you hit, it feels like you hit in a straight line. Okay? Roundhouse kicks can be a little different because it depends on the angle that we're standing at. I'm facing Bob right now, so when I turn, I'm going to be aiming to hit him in the ribs or in the head. You want to go there or a bit higher up to the head. Again, you don't want to be purposely aiming for the shoulder. A shoulder's not really a vital spot on someone. You hit them pretty hard in the shoulder and they're going to keep fighting. Into the ribs or the head though, that's different. And I can go obviously with the left leg, same thing into the ribs. But with roundhouse kicks, we can change the angle. I can come over to here and hit rib, hit Bob in the center of the ribs here in the solar plexus, in the sternum. And that could be a bit more like if someone's sparring you and facing you face on, or if they're sparring you side on. Then when you do your roundhouse kick, you're not hitting them in the ribs, you're hitting them in the center. So that's a little option that way for you about where you're going to stand with your roundhouse kicks. That's the good thing as well. Roundhouse kicks aren't completely parallel. Oh, it's not parallel. They're not at a right angle. You don't. When you hit a person is round. So when you're kicking a bag or something like that, or a paddle, and you have to hit it exactly straight on, like this, or exactly side on, hit your foot flat. That's not the case when you hit a person. Like Bob, people are round. So you can pretty much go here, a little step, here, a little step, here. You can hit him at all different angles. So that's a really fun thing to do with roundhouse kicks as well. So just back to the main point as well is balance and coordination. How hard can you hit Bob? How hard should you hit Bob? Well, you can hit Bob really lightly. You just go like this, and that's okay. Maybe you're going for just fitness. You can hit Bob as hard as you can, but what you want to train with Bob, what you want to learn from hitting Bob, is to hit hard, but not lose all your balance and not lose all your control. So let's go for something like a skipping side kick. So from here, I'm going to skip in, kick, and come back. Now I can keep trying to drive that through onto Bob as hard as I can. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if I'm looking to get better at sparring or self-defense or anything like that, and I work on a skipping side kick that puts me out of commission, and I kick him so hard right now, and hit, and I've lost my balance. I've moved to the side. If that didn't take Bob out, he could land a hook on me or throw me down or something like that. I want to be able to hit him hard and then be ready to do another kick. So you don't want to put everything into one kick. So here, kick, and ready to fight again. Do another kick. Or a hand technique or anything. Skip, kick, and ready again. You want that to be the case for a lot of your kicks. Yeah? It's to find that right point of speed, power, and balance. Because if one of those is too much compared to the others, it suffers the whole technique. So all your techniques, make sure you're able to come back, kick, back, kick, back, that you're not falling over. You might fall over sometimes. That's where you got to learn, right, why did I fall over? Did I put my hands out? Did I try too hard? Was my landing foot in a weird angle? You know, there's all these things to reflect upon, and that's the great thing with Bob. Because if you're only ever kicking the air, when you finally do spar someone and kick them, there's a lot more different factors to take into account. Like what we're saying, how Bob moves back. When you hit, you can't go through. If I do a roundhouse kick, so I can keep turning, I can't do that with Bob. I hit, he's a solid object. I have to find a different way to put my foot back down. Yeah. So these are lots of just different points that I hope you just taking on board. If you're training yourself, just going through your basic kicks, your fundamental kicks, the kicks that you use the most, and starting with them on a Bob, rather than trying to perform and show off all the time and just go, right, now I'm going to do my biggest kick ever, or I'm going to hit Bob as hard as I can. Start off with just, all right, basic kicks, front snaps and roundhouse kicks. Just see how Bob feels. See how well you can maintain your balance even though you're tackling something. See what that can do for you. Things, hook kicks and axe kicks, again, fantastic on a Bob because he's got a head. Yeah. Some things like this fella with the numbers, not bad. The kicks can still work, but it's still a bit more unique when you've actually got this shoulder to get around, shoulders to get around, and then hit the head. So if we do a hook kick from here, we want to spin, and if I don't lift it up high enough, I'm going to end up in his body or on his shoulder. But if I do swing it high enough to get the right technique, get it up to the head. You do need to just be careful with this though, if your feet get caught. Yeah? If you try for a roundhouse or an axe kick or a hook kick and your foot gets caught up on the top, and if you don't have that balance and control, you can fall over. Yeah? If your foot gets there. Gets caught for a second, it can surprise you. So you got to make sure you're really warmed up, that you've got the flexibility to get up to the head. And again, don't start with massive power up to the head. Just try to tap. Just try to give him a gentle flick so that you're not going to lose your balance or anything like that. Same thing for the hook kick, just tap. Even if you just miss a few times, that's okay. And then same thing for the axe kicks. I recommend then, still you just want to be careful because when your foot gets caught up on the top, if you are even flexible enough to get it right on top of his head, you need to have that bit of strength and control to get it off his head then as well. So just be careful of those. So again, I think I'll get some more specific drills later in some different videos, but the best thing to start with the Bob is getting comfortable with kicking the Bob before you start going for extreme, like extreme speed or extreme power, and really just being careful not to kick the bottom, because I have, and if you've never used the Bob before, you're going to kick the bottom at some point and it's going to suck, and that's just part of learning to pace yourself, have a bit of control, and have discipline to always lift your leg up nice and high, not to be lazy and kick down to the bottom. If you've got questions or comments, please leave them down below or send us an email or something. If you have a request for another type of video, if you see something in here that you want to learn how to use, just ask us and I'll show you as best we can. Alright? Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you next time. Alright? Opinion.